I think when Carson Wentz is out there, I think Doug Peterson feels the need to be dynamic, open the offense up, spread the ball around, obviously get the ball to Zach Ertz, but I think he has a tough time of incorporating all the guys in the offense. When Nick is out there, I think everyone's at ease. I think the game plan is more simplified. I think
more detail-oriented.
It's more detail-oriented, but not strenuous, not a bunch of different plays where, guys are required to think. I think it's more simplistic.
And what you're
that's
saying,
the way it look.
What you're saying is Philadelphia says, listen, we don't have the high-end talent.
Yeah.
Let's simplify it, do fewer things better. And with Nick Foles, there's not as much fireworks show, but it's easy, put your arms around it, pound the football as much, and that's what you're seeing.
The one thing I do know is just in talking to several players and coaches last year after the Super Bowl, when Carson went down, all the guys felt more pressure to perform. And I think, that helps within itself. You look at guys, feeling like they have to go out and be at their very best all the time. And then when a guy goes down, now it's like, okay, you focus on the things that you really have to do well, scale back on a majority of the offense, probably some on the defense, and then let guys go play lights out and play faster. That's what it looks like with Nick Foles, and that has to be the game plan because it was too easy last night. I mean, we didn't see the Philadelphia Eagles look that way all year long, and now it's starting to become frustrating to me because I'm starting to think the same thing. Like, what's the difference in Nick Foles and Carson Wentz? It's starting to stack up as far as wins in the win-loss column.
Right.
More wins for Nick, less for Carson.
Let's go to the Rams. My takeaway, whether you heard it or not, Michael, was listen, they're building a $5 billion stadium. They're brand new to the city. You got the Lakers, you got the Dodgers, you got USC football, you got
sports everywhere.
Everywhere. So they went and got some headliners, and Ndamukong Suh, Aqib Talib. And I think they overpaid for Brandon Cooks and Dante Fowler. And here's my takeaway. The Rams have stars, but the Chargers have depth.
Yes.
And I watch the Rams, Mike, they look tired. They don't have depth. They have one running back. Cooper Kupp left. Now they have one receiver they have to rely on. That's what I see. I see a team that's got a bunch of stars, doesn't have a lot of depth, and January is about depth.
They look like a team who started out fast and had a ton of success in a bunch of different areas. And the first quarter of the season is always easy to come out and get off to a good start because opposing teams don't know how you're going to play. They don't know what you're going to come out with and, what your scheme is going to look like. After a while, you start to create an identity, and things don't change. You just dress it up a little different.
Right.
So the catching up with the scheme, and now you just got to reboot. You got to go back and look at what did we do well early in the season. What are other teams doing well versus the teams that we're about to play, and you got to create concepts based on that. But they got a lot of talent, and I think this team should be in a better position. Obviously, that game was competitive last night.
At the end.
Probably one that they should have won.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And
these seasons are long, Michael. They're literally there's the pre-Thanksgiving, then there's post-Thanksgiving, and then playoffs feel differently.
Yeah. It's inevitable for guys to not feel fatigued at the end of the season. Like you go through, the first half of the season, and things are going your way, and then all of a sudden, not just rookies, veteran players hit a wall too. I experienced that in 13 seasons. Imagine the guys like Tom Brady who's, 17, 18 years in. It's just something that you can't dodge or get away from, and you can't win every game. You can try, but at the end of the season, postseason, that's when you got to be at your best. But you have to be well rested, and you have to have some players who fresh and can come off the.
That's what the Chargers, the Ravens, and the Bears have.
Yes, when you have
layers.
To have depth. You have to have depth.
Okay, so Dak Prescott gets shut out. Not a great look. Listen, Zeke had a good day, not a great day. Amari did okay, but wasn't great. I mean, I kind of look at it and I think to myself, with Dak needs some great performances around him to win games on the road.
Yeah, Dak needs help, from everyone, offensively and defensively. certainly not the type of performance you want to put on film, this late in the season and with the postseason right around the corner.
Because people will look at that.
They're going to watch it, and they're going to say, we should do this to Dak Prescott because this is what the Indianapolis Colts did.
They took Amari out.
Took him out the game. They doubled it. They doubled him up, and then they find out the areas that you're struggling, you're not so good in, and you get exploited. So, I mean, it's blueprints that's created each and every week. Certainly not the one that you wanted, that the Dallas Cowboys wanted yesterday, but can't take anything away from the Indianapolis Colts. They're a really, really good football team. Really good team.
And better, I think, at this stage than we thought.
Yes. Sure.
Couple of different things. Number one, you had an interview with Lamar Jackson last week. He's better than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought Josh Allen from Wyoming and Lamar Jackson from Louisville needed to sit a year.
I thought the same thing.
I just thought, I thought Darnold, Baker, and Rosen could come in, chop it up, be okay.
Right.
Get overwhelmed at times, but be okay. Lamar's doing it, man. And by the way, not a ton of bad plays, not a lot of picks. Their offensive coordinator. You think the Ravens coordinator's the key here?
I think the Ravens coordinator is the key. Marty Morningwig. I think James Urban, the quarterback coach, who we were all together in 2010 in Philadelphia, did some of the same things, not, at this pace or with as much volume, but we did enough to keep teams off balance and added to get positive yards and move the chains. Greg Roman is involved.
Yep.
So 3 heads better than 1. And, I mean, Lamar's doing everything he's asked to be doing.
Yep.
And he's making the game the game is easy for him. Like, what he's doing, I mean, hand it off or you keep it. Short passes, not a lot of passes down the field, not being asked to do a lot. It's really a game plan that he can probably run for the next couple years and be successful at it and just give defenses fits.
Yeah, but by the way, Baltimore plays real defenses. I say this, every quarterback, I mean, Andrew Luck's one of the few I think that doesn't. Every quarterback's got holes in his game.
Yeah.
So Andrew's hole right now, or not Andrew, Lamar Jackson's hole is experience.
Right.
Okay, you're not going to give him the whole playbook. By the way, Big Ben's first 2 years in Pittsburgh, it was a lot of running.
Yeah.
They weren't given
big balanced.
It was. Now you can let him throw 50 times a game. So I think Baltimore's a headache. I also think when you came into this league, people don't have tape.
Right.
It took people a year to figure out the Wildcat.
Yeah.
People don't have enough tape on Lamar. And by the way, I think week to week, Baltimore's figuring out who Lamar Jackson is.
Right.
And they have him in-house.
Right. And they'll continue to add to the playbook. They'll continue to come up with different concepts. And then once opposing teams latch on to what they're doing, then the offseason to roll around, they'll go scout more offenses that's suited for Lamar's game. They'll come back next year with something different. He'll learn more in the passing game. Then it becomes a situation of how do we, incorporate more passing game into the run game, or do we even bother with, allowing him to pass more? Let's do what he's comfortable with. And I think, that's the most important thing right now. They're doing the things that getting them out of the stadiums with a win and making Lamar successful and not putting a ton of pressure on the offense or the defense.
Yeah, I don't want to see him running 18 times a game. I'd rather he's in the 8 to 12. But I think some of this is sustainable. Running over 15 times to me is not sustainable.
Yeah.
All right, New England, Pittsburgh. What was your big takeaway from the game?
Pittsburgh is a lot better than what we think. Pittsburgh comes to play when they want to play. And, aside from beating the New England Patriots, they should have beat the Chargers,
They had the Chargers beat.
They had them beat. So this is a team that can put it all together whenever they want. Obviously, New England looked tired. Tom Brady looked like
he's tired.
He was into it, but he needed help. And I can't understand why Josh Gordon only had 1 or 2 receptions.
I can't figure it out.
This is a guy that they brung in to be the marquee player for this team, to be the guy that can stretch the field and create other opportunities in the offense, especially in the run game. They are using that effectively. I don't know why. But the Pittsburgh Steelers did what they needed to do at a critical moment in the season.
Yeah, for the record, if you go look at the Steelers this year, when they played the Chargers, it went down to the wire. Yeah. They beat New England. So this is what Pittsburgh does. As Joey knows, being from Pittsburgh, the big games, they rise to the moment. Some of this is on Big Ben. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Some of this is on Big Ben. He is not as laser focused as other players in this league, and he sometimes shows up on Sunday, and it feels like for the first half he's messing around and he's going off script. And I thought he was really focused late.
Yeah, and then they had running game yesterday, and that created the balance that we talked about yesterday on our show that they needed. 145 yards rushing. That helps.
Yep.
That pays dividends.
Mike, great seeing you. 13 years for Pro Bowls. Mike Vick, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Coming up in 20 minutes, where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong. And coming up next, Green Bay's new reality. And it's not pretty. It's the Herd.
Rated E to M.